All right, today I feel so weird. I can't even freaking, it is weird because I feel like super excited. Like inside of me, I feel like this super excited, but kind of nervous at the same time. I don't know. It's really weird. It, and I don't know if is something about, what's to come. I mean, there's so many people saying that they're feeling the energy that something's about to come. And it's weird because you have people saying, oh, they're just trying to scare people. Well, why would that scare you? That's what people got to see. If they are scared, then they have to figure out, like, why am I scared? Like, you have to come to terms with your eternal. You're here for this experience. And this experience is about to get crazy, I think. I feel like this is tipped weird. I totally have to reset it every time because if I turn it, the thing to, you have to move everything. It's like reset it up every time. I used to have it. It was just like the same. So I didn't have to mess with it. But anyways, it definitely feels like, and I don't even know. I mean, it could be totally my own personal life. Like to me, everything seems to be coming into alignment in my personal life. Like, so, I don't know. We'll just have to see how things go. But I also saw where people said to be weary of the date that's coming up 911 because they think that's when they're going to strike. And there is definitely a lot of conjecture that it is going to be another event like that. And that's what I was picking up on too. It's going to be another event like that where everybody's paying attention, like, oh my God, what's going on? And, and who knows? Who knows what we're going to witness? Like, that whole thing that they televised to have us all watch and all these kids watch. Because another thing that the TikTok I'd seen where the one girl was talking about how traumatized she was responding to another girl's TikTok who was even younger. I would say this girl was probably closer to my grandkids' age. And she said that how much time that they've had to spend sitting and watching that footage, being told all of this stuff. Like, it's totally indoctrination. And they use that fucking old fucking footage to continue to traumatize the kids. So I do think, I mean, that's one of their favorite things to do is, do something really horrible. So we're all just outraged and upset and scared. And because that energy, don't forget, they're funding this energy out there. They're selling that aspect of our energy somehow. Like, I don't know how it all works. Like, they just like, is there like a stall? All the spirits that paid us go into the stall that when we have these explosive things happen and our energy goes out, they all just sit there sucking off of it. I don't know. I don't get how it all works. I've definitely heard so much about that kind of stuff in the secret space program. Whistleblowers have talked about that kind of stuff. So, and I don't know all their names. Corey Good, you can look up his stuff. But there's other ones. You can look at Cosmic Disclosure on Gaia channel. But like I said, even Ancient Aliens, it is got stuff in there that is misdirecting because it's sitting there talking about space and we're out there spinning and stuff, so they're lying. That's why you have to have discernment. You have to pick up on the lies for yourself. You have to be like, okay, well, that doesn't feel right. You don't just buy whatever somebody's telling you. You got to sit with it. You got to see how you feel about it. What does your gut tell you? And it's weird too, is like, there's a lot of people who don't know how to use their gut instinct. It's a foreign idea to them. I did see this girl this morning and she said the same thing as like what I was saying, a while back about you have to do the steps. You can't just be like, oh, I'm spiritual now and I've skipped all the steps. And I was thinking that is the thing that's different is you have all these people out there who are all the super spirituals. I found my God 6 months ago and I can tell you I've got all the gifts and I'm here to tell you and blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, oh, I know what it is, why they seem so empty. Like I see this certain person keeps popping up and they're always trying to do like this great presentation and stuff. And it's like, it's more than the presentation. Like you shouldn't even need a presentation for spirituality. It shouldn't be like, whistles and balloons. It's not carnival, it's real. But the thing I have noticed is these people don't seem to be able to talk about their healing. They don't seem to be able to, either they haven't done it, or they don't know how to share it, or they don't think it's important. I don't know. I think a lot of them haven't done it. And I think when this event happens, whatever's going to happen, like I've said since the beginning, I've been saying it for like fucking 6 years or something. This was a come to Jesus moment that everybody's going to experience. And all these people who are still think that they are doing a certain thing, well, they're going to see the truth. Like, I don't know their truth. I don't know if they are doing something good or they are just doing something in ego. That is a personal thing. That's why there's no point of us judging others. It's their personal thing. They'll be shown for themselves. But I do think there's going to be a lot of people who have been out there, trying to lead people spiritually, who it's going to become clear that what are they leading them on? Because this person hasn't even walked the path. So they're just pulling them in the direction maybe, but everybody's going to be heading on the path. That's the only path towards the new age. So, and the people who don't want to walk the path, well, then they get to stay and keep experiencing this world because there's still more for them to learn. And, we can sit here and think like, oh my God, this is horrible. This is the worst thing in the whole wide world. This is hell. Like, I know it is. But as a soul, you put yourself into it. So when you come into it, it isn't horrible. Like, your soul knows this isn't horrible. Your soul knows you're learning from this. It feels horrible because you have emotions and separation. You have a veil. You don't really know. You have to go inside. You have to figure it out for yourself. All of those things is to pull your soul inside to see the truth. So many people, though, they keep looking outside, but it's because the outside is just popping off. It's like, look over here, look over here, look over here. Don't look inside. Don't heal. It's so crazy when you see like the videos and stuff that they take down. Yesterday, after I finished recording, and I keep trying to watch stuff to watch. It's so weird too, because I kind of have this like yearning to go back to some kind of movie that I watched, long time ago, and it impacted me and it made me feel good, and and it's like, oh, I want to have that feeling again. Like some movie that just really, moves you. And then you go out and start looking and it's just like, oh my God, it is just so much garbage. I was watching, I did finish Wolf, and I think, for where we were at the time it was released, it was kind of like, well, that's some, it didn't seem like it was really thought of as being good or something, but I don't remember. But this time when I watched it, I was thinking, kind of reminds me of, like he's portraying like Lon Chaney or something. Like Jack Nicholson was that was his role model for the part. And then James Spader, I think that they were kind of feeding off of even the music. It kind of, because I was walking around the house doing stuff and the music would come on and it would give me that feeling of being a kid and watching old scary movies. And I was like, oh, they're even using the same kind of music. So I thought it was good, pretty good. The only thing I think that really, really bothers me a lot for newer movies is just the push on lately, especially the woke agenda, but just the sexuality that they put in movies is just over the top. I really don't care about watching other people have sex. I've said it so many times, but I don't. I mean, it's just like they push this shit on us because, if they push it on certain people, some people are like all into it. It's the way they direct people how to look at things and how to kind of not kind of build calluses, so you don't get, like, you see certain things, it's like, seen that, like, we've seen so many people be murdered, we've seen all these people have sex, and no matter what, it is the illusion. That is what we are watching. Just like when they put these high school or junior high school coming of age movies and they're explicit and sexual, who do you think is watching those and getting off? Like, I used to watch them and it would remind me of, like, oh, I remember being like that. I remember being so awkward. And, but now I see it, and now it's just like, oh my God, they are pushing, like, Euphoria, and they're pushing all these overly sexualized, I mean, hardcore kids. And then, who's watching this? I know some kids are, but there's also a lot of people who get off on that. Like, it's their porn. And it's right there on TV for everybody to watch. And then plus, it's the same thing as when they do these, I started to watch something and I thought, oh, this seems interesting. I can't remember what it was called, but it had people, like, especially this guy who was doing the this ritual part or something, and I can't remember. It was like this kid and this grandpa were looking for something. I don't know. It's kind of Raiders of the Lost Ark or something, but it had to go up against this guy, and he starts doing a ritual. As soon as they start doing that shit in a show or a movie, I turn it off, because I feel like they are definitely doing real rituals and using real chants and stuff and pulling us in and using our energy to create whatever it is they're trying to create. And I mean, it's what they do with everything. That's why they sit here and feed us the fear. That's why they put stuff in the movies, so that when they start terrorizing us or whatever, our brain has that pathway. We lean towards that. Oh, now I know that's why everybody sees The Matrix, and why over in China they're seeing dragons and red rivers that look like blood. Because it's stuff that is from their past that was used to create fear amongst them. Like, if there was really, like, there's footage of these dragons in China, or Japan or something. If that was real, if there was really dragons flying around, it would be, I mean, it would be a lot more treacherous, a lot faster. Like, it wouldn't be something they could just hide. And this footage is a couple weeks old, and people are acting like, oh my God. There's so many people who just keep being like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. And they don't understand. It's the end of this world. It's the end of this reality. This reality is played out. We're done with it. It's just, you can see it. It's heading fast into a wall. This train is just like, we're watching the view as we go. It's speeding down the track, showing us all the plans for the future. And it was not good. It wasn't going to keep going. And they, and especially they couldn't keep it going because it's a new age. It's all played out. It's all run out. Their time's up. But, it's definitely, heading down for a huge crash. And they are the creators of their own crash. I mean, everybody thinks like we have to go out and fight them in the streets or something. They don't want to come here and fight us. That's why they haven't yet. It's because the people that they have to come fight us are scared, because they know so many people have weapons. And that is why they're attacking us with these natural disasters, so that people are weakened. I can't even, I saw a footage yesterday. This was crazy. I can't even remember what state it was. I've seen, oh my gosh, there's so many. I mean, so many people in so many states are having just crazy shit. Like there's a volcano going off in Utah. Yellowstone has got activity. This was this girl was showing her house, and she said a storm came out of nowhere. It was just like everything was fine, and suddenly a storm came out of nowhere. It lasted 10 minutes and it was over. And she showed her yard and her house. I've never seen anything like it. Her whole yard was covered with giant hail, like these giant balls. They were definitely tennis and baseball, softball size, huge, huge hail balls. And the side of her house that she was showing, like when she showed that, and then she showed the side of her house, it looked demolished. There was holes all the way through. It was covering all over. Like somebody just sat there slamming her house with it. Like, what is the power behind these giant balls? Where are they I mean, it is nuts. Like, there's no way they could have slept in that house. It was fucking completely open. And it was just tore out. I couldn't believe it. And I saw like these floods in Vegas. I think this is crazy, but I saw people on floaties riding the river through the streets. It's like, oh, I don't know about that. Seems like you could crash into something. That seems really dangerous to me. But, I mean, some people are just making it like, it's a joke. Oh, look, this is so fun. They don't realize, no, dude, we're under attack. They're doing this because they are attacking us, trying to prepare for an invasion because that's what they want to do. And they're desperately trying to hold on to power. But there's no way because it's like the forces of nature are going against them. So it doesn't matter what they do. This is something too. Like everybody is like, oh my gosh, the Anne Hesh stuff going on. Like everybody is just freaking out and showing this footage. And, I can't imagine that everybody hasn't seen this footage yet, but it is nuts. It's so creepy. It's so eerie. Like you're bringing a body bag out. Besides, there's just so many things in the whole story that the story they tell does not match the evidence that is there. So, right there, you can see it's all some bullshit. But so she, the footage of her being in the body bag and they're pulling up firemen. What the fuck? There's a fire and firemen are doing the ambulance or the stretcher. When does that happen? Firemen are there to do the fire. They're not loading up stretchers. Like, and there's a fire, the car's on fire in somebody's yard, and the firemen have got somebody on a stretcher wheeling them out to the thing. And then suddenly the body bag unzips and she sits up. And you can see her, and it's weird too because it looks kind of like she's naked and like her back has got dirt on it. Like, I don't know, did they drag her out of the car and have her in the dirt or what happened? I don't know. But the way she sits up and then they push her down real quick. It is so much like a movie. And they push her down real quick and stuff her in the thing. And so, all these people are seeing all this stuff. And I didn't know. I mean, at first they were just like, about who her, past relationships. She's been with some dark people. So maybe she's got some evidence or something. And then, she went into the wig store. She was getting this wig. And she's taking pictures with the guy being nice. He said she was not drunk. She was completely normal. And then she goes out in her car, but she's nervous, and she takes off. And, it could have been like anything. Her brakes could have been cut. I mean, they have a thing with being able to do aerosols and stuff. They can do anything. So did they do something to knock her out? And funny enough, after I was already thinking about this, I started watching another old movie. And it was called Control. I didn't finish this one. But it was, how it starts was Ray Liotta is a criminal. And he's being put to death with the injections. whatever. So it's a long drawn out scene of that and his memories and his horrible childhood and his murdering people and, you know, his anger and heartlessness and stuff that was developed from his own sadness. And then he wakes up in the morgue, pulls himself, like the body bag, they unzip it, and then he comes awake, and it's the CIA who's there to, with a drug company, a scientist, and they tell him that they would like to test on him and that they'll let him stay alive. He just has to go and be a test subject, which he agrees. It's either that or we'll just go ahead and kill you right quick. And so he agrees to do it, and that, you know, I stopped watching. I've seen that movie before, and I was just like, I'm just not interested in it. It's all, I don't remember what all happens. It's all about testing the drug and stuff like that. And but you know, for them, they'll pretend somebody's dead, knock them out. Like, did she get sprayed with something? Did she was she dosed with something? Like, were her lines cut? But still, to me, there was something that knocked her out, and that would have been like why she crashed into the house. I don't know what the deal is with this guy saying he got out of the wreck, but he couldn't get her out, and she was burning, and he's just standing there letting her because he thought she was dead. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Is he just there to give a cover story? Because anyways, my conjecture on it is that, you know, that she does have evidence on people. She has a movie coming out next month, which they're going to go ahead and release it. But it's all about trafficking, and it is coming out on Lifetime. And so she, and that happens, all these people, when they are involved with these, you know, Chris Cornell, all these guys, they just end up red tide, you know, and there was no red tie on this. But so when she sits up and it looks like a scary movie, it's like she really did just all of a sudden go be like, where the fuck am I? You know, and wakes up and tries to get out, and then they just push her down and try and zip her back up. And I was thinking, because there's weird footage like this with Michael Jackson, where they pull this ambulance into a parking garage, and then he gets out or something. It was weird. I've seen this. And so that's what I was thinking with her. So is she taken to, like, did she go into protective custody? Is that really who was kidnapping her and trying to protect her? Because she has to give information on certain people. Like, she's going to be testifying. And then to even make it more drama, because this is how they use it on us, is to create this idea so the people who she's testifying against believe she's dead, so that they go into their trial or whatever with a different confidence. And, you know, she comes walking in like, I'm not dead. I'm here to tell you. So I don't know, but I mean, that's just as likely as that, you know, the DS got her and sprayed her and then drug her body out of there, because they wouldn't need to do so much drama. They wouldn't need to make such a public display, you know? Public display is definitely either for us or for somebody else. It's definitely to get us all to think she's dead in a big dramatic way. And always they have to attack their character. You know, oh, she was a drug addict. She's just on drugs and drunk. We've done the test. She's on fentanyl and all the stuff they're saying. She wouldn't even fucking be able to walk. You know, why in the hell, if she was that wasted, would this guy be sitting here in the passenger seat? Like, why would you be driving with somebody on fentanyl patch and alcohol and something else? Like, people overdose on fentanyl patches and then you're adding in alcohol and other drugs. Bullshit. I don't believe it. And, you know, plus she's driving through a neighborhood and she's going so fast that she crashes into a house and explodes the car. But the car doesn't even look exploded, and she doesn't even look burned. Her hair was perfectly fine when she sat up. She just looked dirty. That's the only thing she looked. It's dirty and kind of freaked out, like, what the fuck is going on? So I don't know. I kind of feel like That I feel like it's more likely the good guys got her and put her into protective custody because they need her testimony for other people. And she obviously knows some shit. She's made a movie. She was dating, one of those horrible people for a long time. I don't remember how long she dated Ellen, but Ellen and Tom Hanks are both like somehow second, third cousins and Rothschilds or Rockefellers or something. That's what all these people do. They just take different people out of their family and put them in different names to put them into our society to guide us, to direct us so that we follow along with what they say. And then they make them real famous. And then we think like, oh, it's the same thing they did with Joe. I mean, look at the shit that the MSM is doing to try, like Joe's doing this great with the economy. He's doing so good. There's so many jobs and stuff. It's like, what in the hell? Like, they try and convince us, like, don't listen to your neighbors. Don't listen to your eyes, ears, and your senses. Just listen to us. We'll tell you he's doing great. It's like, oh my God. Oh my God. It is just the ludicrous absurdity of what they try and do and how they try and direct us has just become so apparent. It's so crazy. And, like this morning out here, it is fucking freezing. It is so fucking cold. And the smog, fog, whatever, the fumigation poisons that obviously can't just dissipate. Like they just sit out there like a fog with us breathing them in. And no birds. This morning I did another footage to show, oh, here's the fog and no birds and a freezing cold, typical summer morning here. It's like, oh my God. But I do feel like it is close. Things are, I think that it is partly because the DS is working so hard to trick us, and everything they do, it just keeps blowing up in their face. Like, people see through their shit. Nobody is buying on to their shit anymore. Everybody is just like, well, I mean, there is some people, and those people would, if they don't wake up, then they weren't meant to wake up. They were meant to go on and continue learning from this experience. And you can see, like, there's a lot to learn for some people, because there's just still people who just completely trust. My mom has this one friend who she just all the time, oh, my nose is running again. Oh my gosh. And I keep sneezing. I feel totally like if I wasn't awakened to what's going on, I could totally feel like, oh, I'm probably sick. But it is like this low-level sickness that just goes away. It feels like, your throat's scratchy, you feel exhausted, tired. And my throat just hurts. And I don't know. I just know that that's part of the thing. Make us sick so that we think it's sickness, but really it's poison, because they're gassing us to death. But, and I saw this person this morning, he was asking everybody, please, please go get tested for HIV and AIDS, because he was saying that is because the lowered immunity, and that's what the people have, and then that's why they're catching all the stuff. But that's why I was saying, like, everybody who, they've already shot their immune systems. Their immune systems are struggling. And when I worked in the hospital, those were the people, like the people who had shitty immune systems from cancer or AIDS. And then you would go into their room. Like, you weren't allowed, if you had a cold, a sneeze, a cough, anything, you had a snotty eye, you wouldn't be able to go in that room. You couldn't go into those rooms because their immune system was so low that they could catch anything. And that's when we would have to wear these, when we would go in there. And that was to make sure, like, our breath didn't go out and we couldn't breathe any germs out. But it was like, it'd be like for a couple minutes. You can go in there and wear it for hours and hours. And any of those people that go anywhere outside of their room, they have to wear those. And it's just to try and keep them from getting too many germs. But there's so much more to these things than people understand, especially now knowing that they had their whole thing was that they were going to force us to wear them. And so China went in and made all those and put worms and shit into them. Like, I can't even, the footage I've seen of that stuff, there's living things in there. And those things are meant to make you sick. And that is, the whole thing is just to make us sick. And then when you wear these all the time and you're just rebreathing your same old CO2 is just, and you're the same germs, you're just breathing these germs in and out. And then, you know, they go out and then the moisture creates bacteria and then you breathe it in. Like, I imagine a lot of people got sick. But they would have thought like, oh, I've got the flu. Yeah, I've got it. No, I've got it. I'm so sick. It's like you got some fucking bacterial infection in your lungs from breathing in funk. But, you know, you go in there and they'll lie and tell you whatever. I mean, it's crazy. The stuff I've even heard. Like, there's still people going to those places and telling about their experiences. It's mental. I sure the hell wouldn't go to one of those places. I don't care. I swear. I was like the other day when I was feeling so sick. And I was just having diarrhea. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? What is happening here? Am I just going to shit myself to death and die? I should the hell do that before I go to the hospital. I'll take the natural route. I'm not going to go in there and be tested on anymore. So, and another thing too is, you know, like I was saying, there's so many people breaking up. And I don't want to tell anybody's personal business or anything, but I think that there is something that can help that I do want to share. And this is just one of the person's stuff because they got together when they were super young. And I was really excited, you know, because they just split up. And I got to talk to my son-in-law yesterday because this is one thing that is hard. Man, you have all these daughters and then they get married, especially when they start these relationships with these boys, these young boys. And then these boys stay in your life for so long. You know, I've got young boys that end up being the parent to my grandchildren. And so, you know, you watch these kids grow up and they become a part of your family. And then your kid and them split up. And it's just like, oh my God, this is heartbreaking. Like, it becomes part of your family. It's just, it's really hard. But, you know, I was one of those people. I was getting together with people and splitting up, getting together with people and splitting up. But anyways, but for people who got together, you know, when they were really young, and it could be for anybody, but, you know, when we don't deal with our stuff, and especially, you know, when you're young, you're not dealing with your stuff, you know, you think, you know, if you have a relationship and y'all are together, you're succeeding, you know, like, that is better than most of your friends. Most of your friends are breaking up and cheating on each other and stuff. So if you are together and you get along and stuff, then you are thought to have this really stable relationship. So, you know, I know for one thing, my daughter has always been super driven to, you know, get counseling. Let's see what's wrong. You know, she's always wanting to, you know, get down to the core of it. But then she married somebody and he was much more of a, you know, not one of those, you know, like dissect everything. And, but the two people can become enmeshed, kind of. And so, you know, now, you know, because of this splitting up, and it's not, I mean, it's just the beginning of the whole thing. Like, you don't know where it's headed still at this point. You know, I hope that they can, work it out, but I also don't see things like I used to see them. Like, if I was a person who was that age and I was split up, I would think, oh, well, we got to be back together in a couple weeks or a couple months, like 6 months at the longest, or it's over, you know. But now I look at it so much different. Now I look at it as like, especially for relationships when they start young, the whole way to keep them going is to allow each person their individual growth. And you're going to go through individual growth. Not everything is about the relationship, because you have an experience in this planet that doesn't include them. You're going out into the world and you are interacting with all different people. So you have this orbit that doesn't include them at all times, and your orbit is there to teach you. So you have experiences that are going to align you into your growth, what you need to look at, what you need to see, how you need to, respond to what it is you're being shown. So, you are going to, it's really easy to go in two different directions. So if you go in two different directions, then, it feels like, oh, well, we'll never meet back up. We're going in two different directions. But if you allow that, if you allow the people their personal space to go out and grow and figure out like, who am I? Especially when they get together young and they don't really know. It's like my daughter, she had gotten to the point where, she couldn't tell you how she felt, but she could tell you how he felt. And that isn't healthy. So she does need to do some work on herself. She needs to pull herself into her own balance, her own mind, body, spirit, so that she can figure out who she is, because you can get lost. You can get lost in a relationship, especially because codependent and toxic relationships have been what we've been taught to develop. Most people don't know how to have healthy relationships. Most people don't know how to have healthy relationships with anybody, much less marriages and stuff. But, it's part of the business. I saw somebody talking about, that was part of the reason why they wanted us to get married and stuff all the time, is because it was just another way to track us, to see like what relationships we were in, who we were with. Like, it's kind of creepy when you think about it, because how many people do they have looking at this stuff? Like, for all these people in the world, and they keep all this information and data, it just is stored in the computer. The computer is telling them. Like, did the computer tell Secret Service, like, yeah, you better go check on her? Because I still am weirded out like that. Like, I don't think that many people have Secret Service come to their house and want to talk to them and then want to investigate them. So it's like, I don't know. I really, some of the stuff is just weird. Like I said, it's like we're all waiting to find out a lot of truths on a lot of different things. We all have different things that we're wondering about. But anyways, in their relationship, when she really needs to understand herself, how do you feel? What do you want to do? And stuff like that. And then he had kind of become more like resentful and angry, like things weren't going his way. But when things feel like that, like they're not going your way, it's because you're carrying a lot of baggage. It's like, oh my God, I've got all this baggage and I'm trying to get up here and this is nothing going my way, and that's what it feels like, because you got so much to deal with. And he has a lot of stuff to unpack from his childhood, a lot. And, she was always aware of that. And I think he was, but he didn't have to worry about that because he could focus on his relationship. You become immersed in this relationship and pleasing this other person. But then you become resentful because you have this pain over here. And as soon as this person isn't appreciative of something you've done, that triggers this whole baggage, all these suitcases that are full of all your pain and trauma suddenly open up. They pop open and it's like, oh my God. And you overreact because you're so frustrated and so upset. So he isn't living to his best potential. And it's so important for him to get this opportunity to go and just unpack his childhood, to decipher it, to look through, see what's in there. Because, it's a typical thing for humans to do, is to get caught up in the world and trying to survive. And you don't have time to worry about that stuff. You stuff it down. It keeps coming up. Well, maybe I better just go get a beer. Maybe I better go shopping. Maybe I better just eat some cookies. Like, we've all come up with these different coping skills to stuff and keep our emotions and keep ourselves in check. But really what we needed to do was let it go, let it out, face the trauma. And then we have to learn how to forgive ourselves and forgive others, because it's part of the evolution. It's part of the enlightenment. It's part of our soul's expansion. Our soul doesn't want to sit and hold on to shit and be bitter and angry. And our soul, don't forget, knows that this is just an experience to come in and learn from. We get caught up in it. We get resentful. We get vindictive. And that is what we, as a higher self, get to witness in ourselves, our own vindictiveness that comes out. And you can see so many people are distributing a lot of characteristics that they're going to find a lot of shame for when the truth is in front of them. Right now, they think that they are going in one direction and they can do whatever they want. But then when it goes the other direction and they see the truth, they're going to feel shame. That's why I say there's going to be a huge amount of people that are going to go into the dark night all at once. It's like I saw this girl explain it like how I kept explaining about the tsunami, how they keep showing me like this is an energetic wave and it's like a huge, like it's giant and it's a tsunami and it is full of like everything and everybody. And how I said like, as this is going up, it's like as people awaken, it is powering this wave. And how I had said, like we're kind of up more towards the top and stuff like that. So this girl who I saw who was saying this, and like for the past couple of weeks, I have been just drained of energy. Like I had said, it's hard to get motivated. You just feel kind of exhausted. And I keep feeling like, okay, well, I've got to listen to myself. So obviously I'm resting up for something else because I can feel, I can know, like I'm somebody who likes to go, 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 go. And so when that isn't there, then it's like, okay, so I'm not supposed to be doing that. I've got to take it in. I've got to, relax, prepare because something's coming. And I 100% believe that those of us who are awake and that we are out here trying to help other people, the job is going to get really big all of a sudden. It's going to be like huge because right now it's not even ever. I mean, even the people who think they're awake. I saw somebody yesterday who was like, oh, okay, guys. So this is a double awakening. There is an awakening to the government. And then there's also awakening to your spirituality. It's like, so anyways, there's a lot of people who just don't understand at all what's going on. They're just trying to figure it out. And some of the stuff that I hear people say is just is like, it's like so primitive sounding to me. Like, next you guys are going to be out there saying, well, maybe we better go out and dance do circles and, sing to the gods for rain or something. I don't know. It just is like, yeah, you have those and then you have the ones who are just like, yeah, I'm busy manifesting my $1 million. I'm expecting it any day. It's like, oh my God, what in the hell? So like people just don't understand the world in a supernatural, spiritual sense at all. But so this girl, she was saying, all you people who have felt your energy pull in so much and you've been feeling so drained and so tired and just lack of motivation and stuff. She said that the reason is, and then she went into the explanation about that tsunami wave. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what it was showing me. And so she was saying the same thing, is that it's, she said when she went in to ask her guides, like, why do I feel so worn out, so tired? I think she might have asked for why is everybody or why is just her or whatever. But her guides came back and said that it showed her the tsunami wave of energy. And they said that right now it is pulled all the energy in. So, like before tsunami comes, it will all of a sudden, all the water will recede back. And that's what they told her right now. This is the recede. All of this energy is being pulled back. And that's why so many of us just feel like, oh, so drained. It's pulling the energy back and the wave is going to come over and crash. So it's pulling back. So we're at that point. Before when I kept saying about, I think we're right up here, like it's going to be crashing. So now we're to the part where it's pulled in. That is that it's going to be coming. So that to me was totally in alignment with how I see things, you know. So I think again that we're super close. Like our concept of time and space is different, which, you know what, another thing, so Lock and Key season 3 came on, and I enjoyed season 1 and 2 so much, so I went in to start watching it, and I just can't even get my head focused on anything. I really feel weird. I'm not even kidding. I can't get focused. Everything feels like, I don't know, it feels like way too excited. Like everything's just so excited. And so I was, but one thing that really disappointed me when it very first started, in one of these, it's cool because it's all these realities. You can just go into these different portals, and like these portals are created with these keys, and you go in and it's a different world. And so I was really thinking it was cool. And so people go into these, it's, you know, the same old thing, like, oh, they went in this world, we got to go save them. And so one of the people came back who, you know, there's a whole bunch of her story, but she was sitting there talking about, the girl said, well, where were you? Where did you go? And she said that there was no time or space. It was just emptiness. And it was just nothing there, and how horrible it was. And I just want to stay here. I just want to stay where we are. I was like, oh my God, what? And this is the kind of shit Netflix does. So you're going to this is what you're going to tell people. Like, outside of life is just emptiness, scary, and you're just desperate to stay here because you need time and space. It's like, which both are an illusion. Both are created because space is all around us. They've given this other concept that space is out there because they have to make us insignificant on this ball spinning out in space. So they have to make us feel like we don't matter. We're just, you know, we're germs on a ball spinning out in space. And so then when she, you know, supposedly has died and come back, but the place she went to when she died was no time and space, which good. And then, but it was so horrible. Like, she needs time and space, which, why are they even adding in space when they're saying that? Like, she needs time and space. Like, I need time in a 3D reality. You know, what are they saying? Space. Space is everything around you. Space is this place that I'm sitting in. You know, I don't know. It just, space can be used a lot of different ways. I just thought that it was weird and it was disappointing. And so then I was just like, oh my God. So I was just like, let's just, more indoctrination. Oh, more like, oh, how lucky we are to be here. How lucky we are for this government. Now the government is saying that those of us who are going against them, we're the biggest problem. We're a bunch of conspiracy theory crazy people, and we need to be shut down. So, you know, in their world, that would be the next thing they would do is, you know, come and take us and put us in camps or whatever. The people who, I mean, I even have that written in the thing. They'll put us in the camps to retrain us, and if we can't be retrained, then we'll just, ooh, which I don't know, have anybody else seen this footage? This was so freaky because, you know, like they have said, and this I saw from this was a whistleblower. I think she was the FDA or CDC. I can't remember which she was for, but it's all the same. But so she was saying that they were, their plans is guillotine. Let's go old school. And that they have been building these and trying to make them super humane, like that they just kill us instantly. You know, they don't want to terrorize us. Yeah, right. They just want to chop it real quick, make it, you know, it's the fastest way. They've done all these tests on our bodies, our brains and stuff to check. I guess they've chopped off the heads of millions of mice to check and make sure that this is the best way to go about killing us. And so that's their way that they're going to kill us, you know, is you go to these camps, and then you can either be retrained to submit and be compliant, or you got to go and you're going to be separated from your head. And the weird thing is so I just saw this news bulletin. I don't remember what state it was in. Ohio's coming to my head, but I'm not sure if you want to look it up. But so they've got a new machine for death row inmates, and it looks like a big pincher thing. So they have them sitting in the chair, waiting to be executed. And above them is something that looks kind of like a hair dryer or something back in the day when women would go get their hair done, and they'd have that thing above them. And only this thing is like a claw that gets when you go to the supermarket and you have the claw hand machine, and you can go in and get a toy, a watch, whatever the hell they've got in there. And so it looks like that little claw thing. So it goes in, and it has 4 sharp pincher things, and then it goes in and it goes over your head, chops your head off, and kills you instantly. And that's their new humane way of to kill the prisoners. I was like, huh. So is the guillotine that they're talking about at the camps really just a giant head pincher offer? And plus, when you hear the news lady, the stuff she says to describe it, I was like, oh my God, this is a horror movie. And says that on each of the slicing pincher things, that it has some kind of deadening stuff, some sort of anesthetic or something that makes you not feel it. Okay. You wouldn't be sitting there thinking, you know. Oh, and then plus it plays music to relax you. So it plays this certain Hertz music to relax you, and then it just comes in and chops your head off and pulls it off like a fucking praying mantis or something. I don't know. It's disturbing. But I just thought, oh, that's so funny, because I'd already heard about the guillotines that they had from this whistleblower lady talking about that. And then they, on the news, they show this new way that they're going to start in wherever this state was. So you can look it up. I'm gonna say, Ray, you look it up and you bring back all the information. But anyways, it is just disturbing. But back to the relationship thing. So to me, you know, I don't see anything wrong with the separation. Like when I very first started, and I was still, back then, I was talking about all the people splitting up then, and it still continues. And I said, you know, a lot of people need to take time away from their partner because of this resentment and the way that people become immersed into each other. And they think everything that the other person is doing is causing them a problem. They can't even tell whose problem is what anymore. And that's why it is good, it's healthy to take that time apart and figure out who you are, especially if you've had a relationship with this person for a long, long time, ever since you were a kid. You haven't even figured out who you were as a kid. And so then, you know, when you go through that part of going in and understanding yourself and building yourself back up, you know, remembering what it is you like to do, you know, who you are and what makes you you. And then that, after you both do the healing and get to that position, that's when you can go back in and see, like, you know, hey, do we want to try this again? Do we want to see where this goes at this point? Or, you know, maybe stay separate for a while, go out and experience life, and then you go like, man, I liked life so much better when I was with this person. And it brings you back to that person. So, you know, that is that whole thing about, like, the butterfly, let it go. If it returns to you, it's yours. And if it doesn't, let it be free or something. You know, and that is kind of like our soul experience. And, you know, but I do feel bad for anybody. Like, I've gone through plenty of breakups, and it sucks. It's hard. It's horrible. Even if you're the person who breaks up, you feel like shit. You know, breakups are horrible. And it just, you know, I feel super bad for both people. You know, the person who initiates it, they're going to feel shitty, but the person who it happens to, you know, it just hits them like a ton of bricks. Like, I didn't even see this coming. And, but there's so, I used to just, you know, I used to just see things so differently. Now I just see it as it is so much healthier. If you just go through life, never facing yourself, never growing from any experience, never challenging yourself or trying to learn more about yourself, then what is your purpose? What are you really doing? What are you really accomplishing for yourself? Because it's not just about like, what was the job you got? And, you know, how many cars did you own? How much debt did you have? It's not about that stuff. It's about your personal growth and how you feel about yourself and where you are. One thing too is, I was just thinking about this morning, because I see so many people who just all day long sit and respond to their comments, and it's like they go into arguments with these people. Like they all, like everybody's being so triggered by one another. And so, you know, it just kind of turns fighting. But that's the thing, is a lot of these people think they're all spiritually, yeah, I'm so spiritual now. Well, you've got things you need to work on, or you wouldn't have triggers. And that is, you know, what each person has to see for themselves. And that's what's so nuts, is just there's so many people who think they're doing really well because they, you know, believe in spirituality. They believe that they have a soul, that they believe that there is a purpose to life. But, you know, they're not facing themselves. So, you know, that's what I say, this whole thing. This is what I've said since the beginning of this whole thing, all the way back when I very first started telling my kids that this was going to happen. I said, it's all for these come to Jesus moments. It's all for every single person to go inside of themselves and ask themselves the hard questions and try and figure out who they are. What is their purpose? What are they doing? Why are they doing it? And, you know, it all is healing. So, anyways, I just know this is a whole awakening. I didn't know all of this stuff that was going to be going. I just knew there was going to be all of these things that were going to happen that was going to wake everybody up. But I didn't know at the point of how asleep everybody was, or how conformative, how everybody had just conformed their life to play along with the program. I didn't know all that. I thought it was just because people had just kind of gotten out of touch, you know, had gone more towards science and God, pulling away from their own spirit. So if you don't even believe in God and you don't believe you have a spirit, then who are you connected to inside? So you just start trying to control life, and you're fighting against yourself in life. So anyways, I just keep rambling and rambling. But anyways, to me, any of the stuff that is going on in everybody's life, it is all to get you to focus on yourself and your healing and figure out what are your wounds. And I do think that would be really hard to do if you are in a relationship with somebody, especially if you guys are being resentful towards each other or arguing or fighting. And it doesn't mean you don't love each other just because you say, hey, we need to have some time apart. I got to figure my shit out. Because, you know, it is good to recognize when you need to figure your shit out. Because if you don't, you just fill your bags full of shit. So anyways, it's always good to unpack your bags, even though I just packed mine up. I did have to clean it all out, but now it's all packed up. I'm ready to go. So anyways, let's just see what happens. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we don't have to wait until anytime in September. I'm hoping shit is popping off over the next couple of weeks. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that it's about to go, because we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And I don't think that's bad to want this Chinese water torture to stop and to, you know, we got to face what's to come. and it's the end of this system. It's like the last hurrah. It's like the grand finale of it all. And then, you know, we have to clean up. We have to clean our own home, clean our own home, our own selves out. So anyways, I will talk to you later. Bye.